first quarter. Now we in the fourth quarter, man.
Welcome back to the fourth quarter. It's the first quarter, but we're in the fourth quarter now. Who needs AI when we have Darnay Holmes?
A legend.
Yeah, Darnay, what a great introduction. I appreciate you for being there at Athlete Biz Week, giving us a bunch of great sayings that we're going to use on our podcast.
And clips that went viral because they were hilarious on socials.
100%. If we trademark it, you're going to get 10% of the royalty. So,
Darnay, for the guys or the people that are watching that don't know Darnay Holmes, cornerback for the Atlanta Falcons. We met him at NFL Biz Week. He was hilarious. He pitched us his startup, and he had that one-liner that went crazy that we're 100% going to use. And who needs AI when you have that, right? You don't need Suno or 11 Labs. That we definitely have to.
When you can get someone saying the fourth quarter in our logo and just a perfect saying, and they're an NFL corner, like you got to use it.
Yeah. Okay, so this isn't announced yet, but by the time this show goes out, we would have made a blockbuster announcement. Yahoo Sports is launching a sports business hub, and they're merging they have Yahoo Sports, they have Yahoo Finance, and they're creating a new sports business hub that entails content across both of those verticals because there's this huge boom in the space. And for that initiative, they took eight publishers and media companies to contribute to that sports business hub. So you have all the big, super big ones: Front Office Sports, Sportico, SBJ, Awful Announcing, Barrett Media, John Wall Street, Sports Business Radio. And number 8 is the smallest and newest, yours truly, the fourth quarter.
Let's go. And
huge.
Here's the thing. I mean, we got the show. There's going to be people who are going to come on and be like, oh my God, I didn't even know you were writing. Well, actually, we started, covering sports business through our newsletter, The Fourth Quarter, back in 2024.
Yeah.
So it's been a long time coming. Now you're going to see our articles on Yahoo, which is awesome accomplishment.
Yeah. I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you, producer Pablo. It's a great achievement, and yeah, honestly, big signal for us.
Proud of you too, bro.
Producer Pablo, any words for the people?
Yeah, great job, guys. Keep crushing.
All right, Sid.
I'm reading off I just want to read one thing from the press release that Yahoo's sending out. So all coverage in this hub is available for free, no subscriptions required, unlocking in-depth sports business coverage for more than 100 million fans and investors in the U.S. who visit Yahoo Sports and Yahoo Finance each month, respectively. And then Ryan Spoon, president of Yahoo Media Group, said, rapid changes in technology, media rights, and investments landscape are making the business of sports more important than ever. And they're really excited to deliver that to both Yahoo Sports and Yahoo Finance's audience through smart, in-depth coverage powered by an exceptional group of industry-leading partners. Honestly, incredible words.
Let's go. Fourth quarter and industry-leading. I love how those two words go together.
We manifested this, huh?
Yeah. Now we got the show.
Running the show, stack docket. I'll rip this through pretty quickly, and then we'll dive right in. Headline story: college towns are becoming a battleground of hospitality. Travel and Leisure Co. and Sports Illustrated resorts are building hotels and vacation hospitality branded in college traditions, mostly because of the recurring tourism and strong loyalty that these fans and alumni bases have towards these programs, which creates a huge opportunity for real estate, hospitality, leisure, etc. We touched on this last week, but Nike stock is down 30% year to date, 28% when we reported last week, now trading at prices at the lowest levels in 11 years. Isn't that shocking?
It is shocking. I looked at 5 years. They lost around 150 to $200 billion in market cap.
Insane.
Okay, 150 to 200 billion in 5 years. I mean, I love Nike. I've been repping it for, since I was young. So it's a little bit unfortunate, but hey, maybe they can make a comeback. You never know.
Yeah. Producer Pablo, you're going to have to put up the Perplexity Finance graph that I saw. It's basically red when you look at the 5-year time horizon. And there's nothing really that's driving this more than a lack of a growth story. But we'll touch on that. There's a lot. They were in the news for other reasons across X and the cultural zeitgeist for a multitude of different reasons. But yes, of course, Nike makes our headlines again. McLaren, the premium luxury and motorsports company, has entered the world of golf and launched a set of high-performance golf clubs and signed pro golfer Justin Rose as an ambassador.
Yeah,
Big day for golf fans.
We're recording the show on a Thursday, April 30th. it actually dropped April 29th, and we're about to see it debut Justin Rose at the Cadillac Championships in Miami. So this is going to be really exciting. It's awesome because McLaren is essentially going to be competing in 2 different competitions in Miami at the same time.
That's so cool.
With Miami GP and the Cadillac Championship.
That's amazing. And then, of course, the NFL, we have to talk about this. The NFL has officially entered Hollywood with an official partnership with Skydance Sports to launch film, TV, and streaming creative content and studio. This one is a lot. We have a bunch of analysis for you, why we think this is a good move. Where do you think the future of film and creative film goes for the NFL? Jared Kushner's $50 billion venture fund, Thrive Capital.
Josh Kushner.
Josh Kushner, sorry. No, yeah, Josh Kushner, you're right. Sorry. Josh Kushner's $50 billion venture fund, Thrive Capital, buys a stake in the MLB's San Francisco Giants. And in the same week, ex-Disney CEO Bob Iger joins the firm as an advisor who's supposedly going to be very involved with the SF Giants.
You're getting tech giants coming into the sports realm. They're going to make some big swings. Thrive Eternal is a completely new fund where they're investing in essentially like culturally dominating assets, IP that's going to last forever. I think this is actually such an awesome, move, not only for the tech space because it's a great way to diversify, but I think this is also new capital that's going to enter the sports arena, which is really big for, teams, new leagues, existing leagues, just overall great for the space.
I agree 100%. In the world of emerging sports and emerging sports leagues, World Fencing League just had its debut event, and the tech behind it racked up hundreds of millions of views across socials. Lewis Hamilton was actually sitting front row.
Oh, really?
At that event. Yeah. Lewis Hamilton was in not only Nike, but Lewis Hamilton also made our headlines for 2 weeks in a row. He launched Card Culture last week, his new trading card venture, and now he's at World Fencing League, so supporting. I think Mercedes was a marquee sponsor, so with maybe his
it was like Mercedes, Nike, I think Don Julio as well.
Yeah. We'll
the blade track technology is sick. When we cover it, we'll get Pablo to showcase it as well.
Of course. And L. Catterton and Patricof & Co. launch a $500 million athlete investment fund. This is really interesting. We'll touch on that. New fund alert again. We went how many weeks? 8 weeks in a row?
I think 8 weeks. I think this is going to go literally till the end of the year.
You think we can get 52?
I think we get 52. Because you also have to think about like how like press releases go nowadays. It's like they're announcing that they're going to raise a fund, and then they have another announcement that they close the fund. We're going to cover it both ways because sometimes there's a change, right? CVC announced, hey, we're going to hit this number. I think it was like 7-8 billion, but then it was like 9 to 10, but they only hit 7 to 8. So we'll continue to cover it, but literally every week is a new fund.
Right. They have a target of 500 million, like I just said. So we'll unpack a lot of that. MLS unveils third innovation lab cohort featuring AI-driven sports tech startups. And we're going to play a game. We're going to do start, bench, and cut. Tell me what you're most bullish on when I tell you those startups when we get to that section.
I haven't even seen
He has no
news.
idea.
I literally, Sid texted to me. He was like, yo, I have an idea. MLS just had their third cohort for their innovation lab.
Yep.
Don't read into it. So I don't know what the startups are. I'm just going to hear it from you and give you my honest take.
You can't be afraid to hurt feelings, though. You have to be honest.
But hey, look, I got faith in MLS. I think that they're going to have.
It's not the MLS. You have to have faith in the sports tech.
No,
ecosystem,
for sure.
Right?
I have faith in the sports tech ecosystem. I think the MLS, if they're going to let someone in their cohort, it's going to be a pretty interesting company.
Yeah, high bar, right? High standard. Okay, and you'll end it off with a recap of the latest news in prediction markets.
Yeah, the prediction markets timeline was going crazy on my.
It was too much for me to handle, so I just let you do the research.
So I have this guy Dustin Gauker. I literally always have him as he's like the guy that knows everything in and out from gambling to prediction
Sports
markets.
betting, yeah, all of that.
Always keep his notifications on, and that man is constantly. He was on CNN actually. I was like, holy cow! But like literally, great person to follow on X if you want to stay up to date with everything that's happening in prediction markets. To be honest, though, he's a little bit biased towards a certain way. We'll talk about, where he's biased towards. But I'm just going to give you the full rundown of what's happening in prediction markets and what to look out for in the next couple of weeks.
Love it. Let's dive into the headline story. College town hospitality boom. One of the most interesting sports business categories is forming right now, and nobody is talking about it. College town hospitality. So Travel and Leisure Co. and Sports Illustrated Resorts. Who knew Sports Illustrated actually had resorts? That's a completely separate story that we can get into later. Are quietly building what looks like a vacation ownership empire in college sports markets. So their newest announced location is in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, right near LSU's campus, where an existing downtown hotel is being converted into a Sports Illustrated resort destination with hotel rooms, vacation ownership, timeshare, and whole ownership units. They've announced Tuscaloosa, Nashville, Chicago, and now Baton Rouge. And their LSU location, guess who's an investor?
Who?
NBA legend, former LSU legend, Shaquille O'Neal. He's also
legend.
part of it too. So you have alumni, successful alumni that are coming into this as well.
Yeah, makes sense. I mean, Shaq is a pretty prolific investor. He'll get if he thinks it's an interesting strategy, which I think it is, he'll probably throw some money at it.
Producer Pablo, you had a new sound effect, and I want you to play this because I cut you off.
A legend.
The way you said legend in one of our first.
Yeah, this was at
clipped
Rant
that
for NFL Bizweek. We were introing Justin Peus. Sid called him a beast, and then I immediately interrupted. I said legend.
No, can you say it in the way you said it?
I said legend.
But yeah, no. So that's the high overview. But think of it as these hotels are not typical hotels. They're branded in the culture, the tradition, the sports, the everything outfitted within the college, right?
Yeah.
So they're gonna have. Think of this as like, it's gonna have a sports bar, vacation club, fan museum, country club for game day. Each of these is going to have sports memorabilia, Sports Illustrated covers and photography, local university references, athlete and coach storytelling, big communal food and beverage spaces, fitness, wellness area, entertainment zones, residential, vacation clubs, retail.
Literally like the resorts, instead of just having like these normal hotels or even motels, especially in college towns. I mean, if you look at like a lot of college towns, there's a central location that's highly developed. A lot of it's like pretty much college bars. But then everywhere around it, maybe the university owns the land, or it's kind of difficult to build.
There
out
might be
permit.
like a sparse number of hotels, but
they're not like
they're not drenched.
They're not ingrained.
It's
in
like
the
a
tradition.
Holiday
A lot of
Inn.
them are like a Holiday Inn, and
and they have like
for a while.
one mural of like the football team or something.
And there may be like four floors. It's like they're not like something like actually grandiose. And I think this is such an interesting investment strategy, okay? And also development strategy overall. So Travel and Leisure, Sports Illustrated, they're doing this. They're launching one in Baton Rouge, but at the exact same time, they have a development going on in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, right?
Mm-hmm.
Roll Tide country. These are SEC hotspots that have a ton of alumni, and actually pretty wealthy alumni, that consistently come back to their alma mater throughout the year, right? Whether it's game days, rivalry week, a bunch of other athletic events, right? Because their children might be at school as well, and they might be on the volleyball team or the gymnastics team, and they're going to all these events. Now, it's not very developed. There's not that much real estate around around that area because it's really difficult to get permits. Universities have tended to, leave some of their land undeveloped because of an opportunity to either build more dorms or, academic institutions, right? You're seeing a lot of schools that are now throwing a lot of money into AI labs, right? At some point in time, they might want to use their land for that. For these SEC schools, though, now that NIL has become such a big deal, right? And at the exact same time, thinking about revenue generation opportunities has now become more paramount than ever before. Leasing it to companies like Sports Illustrated or Travel and Leisure, Sports Illustrated, that are willing to pay hundreds of millions of dollars to lease and build out resorts here, I think it's likely a no-brainer for these universities. At the exact same time, it's a great opportunity for the Travel and Leisure, these apartment company or these hotel companies, because the difference is there's a recurring revenue, right?
100%.
And the way that they're advertising it is through like a clear timeshare approach where it's like, hey, invest a lot of money up front, tens of thousands of dollars, and you'll have like fractional ownership in some of these hotel rooms, or even some are just like purely residential. And then you can rent it out. That could be another source of income, or it can be left for you when it's rivalry week and you're visiting.
Yeah.
Crazy stat. All right, looked at Tuscaloosa, and I wanted to see, is there a real opportunity here? Tuscaloosa, for home games, Alabama football home games, they have 80,000 visitors that come out of state. Guess,
Wait, out of state?
Coming out of state or out of city into Tuscaloosa.
Out of city.
Yeah, but like most of it's out of state, right? Because a lot of like Alabama grads don't stay in.
No, I feel like a decent amount stay in
Do they
Alabama.
They stay in like Birmingham? Like,
I mean,
I don't know. I
maybe
feel like they go to like
Atlanta.
Atlanta.
Yeah,
They
sure,
go
sure.
Right. So 80,000. Guess how many hotel rooms there are in total?
How many?
In Tuscaloosa? 3,000.
Wait, so what is the alternative? Airbnb?
I think the alternative is Airbnb. Whenever I talk to any like alma mater that's like I was talking to someone who's 5 years out of Notre Dame, they still go to some of the Notre Dame games. It's always they're renting out an Airbnb.
Really?
Right? But there's still like a clear hotel culture. And at the same time, if it's branded in a certain way, I think this could be a home run.
100%. And it's not just us thinking that or, Travel and Leisure Co. thinking this. First of all, they're a public company that did $4 billion in net revenue last year. Okay?
Wow, okay.
All right, so they're huge, by the way. But Hilton, the huge hotel chain, has also entered the space, so it's like a battleground now. So at the same time, Hilton bought Graduate Hotels. First of all, I've never heard of Graduate Hotels. Have you?
Yeah, so I think it's a chain, and they just acquired
I didn't know this was a thing.
Yeah, I'm not that tapped in the hotel space, but it seems like they're merging with the college sports market. So
yeah, so they bought Graduate Hotels for $210 million in 2024, and said that brand could eventually be scaled to about 400 to 500 hotels globally. So essentially, they're a lifestyle hotel chain around major university towns, probably what we were referencing before, right? Similar concepts. And the idea is that each hotel is designed to feel specific to the local school, alumni culture, sports history, and college town identity. It's not just a generic logo slap on there. It's supposed to be a little bit more integrated. They see this as a big win, obviously, or a big opportunity to go chase this. I'm very bullish on this.
yeah, Hilton also is about to launch. So they bought Graduate. They're about to launch Undergraduate too.
But they haven't announced, that's true, but they haven't announced when exactly
when
or
exactly,
what
or where, which cities. But so for Undergraduate, they're looking at like secondary and tertiary markets. So not like the SEC, Baton Rouge.
It's supposed to be
Tuscaloosa.
more friendly, economic friendly.
Yeah,
Right.
economic friendly. You
Right.
go to like places where it's like maybe like a D2, D3 school or a liberal arts college where there's just not that much like hotel development there. You have a bigger brand like Hilton come in and provide a premium experience. A lot of alma mater, whether it's graduation or events that they're going to go see their children, or they're just alma mater that wants to revisit campus, they could go there instead.
So you touched on this earlier, but what's driving this is kind of four main things, right? So one is built-in recurring demand. There's always sports programming, graduations, concerts, whatever.
Concerts now,
right?
yeah.
There's now
LSU was popping off with concerts, right? Last year they had Zach Bryan, they had Jelly Roll and Post Malone.
Yeah,
like,
PBR, professional bull riding.
bull riding is like
now coming to campuses to do full-blown like multi-day events
at the football stadiums.
Stadiums, which we covered a few episodes ago. But there's built-in recurring demand. There's a reason for people to come back, right? Seasonality for for sports seasons, et cetera. Emotional loyalty. Most people and most fans have, and most alumni have loyalty, dying, unwavering loyalty towards their,
to their
former
school. And that's not going to change.
I don't think that's changing.
With how much more sports is becoming as important in universities nowadays, like it's going to continually embolden the current student and the alma mater.
100%. I think for people that have not grown up in the South, we both have. SEC culture is huge, right? Like people go crazy for some of these schools.
I know.
So you just mentioned the scarce inventory.
And I'm jealous, honestly. I went to Penn, which didn't have that good of a football program, unfortunately. But
I would sympathize with you, but I'm not taking
no,
any
Georgia
time.
Tech was kind of good.
I'm not taking any time to sympathize for your Ivy League education. So, yeah, and if you just touched on this, but scarce inventory. There's currently not enough inventory right now, and year round.
But it's scarce because it's really hard to get. You do have to have like some form of like really strong bargaining power with the university to figure out some sort of deal. Because even the development that's happening in Tuscaloosa, they're running into problems with. Even though I think they like secured the permit, there's like issues going on when it comes to like the land development and whether like the community has fully okayed it yet. Like there's all this other stuff that you have to go through. But I feel like once you jump through those hurdles, there's a real opportunity.
Yeah, and most college towns are slightly underdeveloped to their maximum potential, right? You'll see when you're going through, I can speak for when we visited, Athens, University of Georgia, it's so grandiose in some parts, but other parts, you would have thought like, is this really a college
It's quite
town?
rural,
Like this
honestly,
is the University of Georgia. Yeah. So it's a little rural. That's a great way to say it. But other than that, I'm bullish. What do you think?
I'm bullish, and I have an idea.
Okay.
So a big thing that happens also in SEC schools that many people might not know about, or even like Big Ten, like some of these big schools in general, they'll usually have like kind of a secret organization for alma maters, like sort of like not like a finals club, but it's like finals club for alma mater for like these certain schools. Like maybe you pay a quite significant money up front, and then you get like access to this like really nice lounge area. It's great for game days, etc. What if you just built like a themed like Soho house in university campuses?
That's genius.
It's
Is anyone doing that already?
I don't know, but it just seems like I feel like university students. I mean, maybe this is the case, but like enrollments or going to school is just getting more and more expensive, and there's just really wealthier and wealthier kids. I was looking at this too. LSU, they were like 15% were in state back in like 2018, 2019. Now they're at like 40, or like they're on pace to hit 40, right? So if you're going to an SEC school out of state, you definitely have some disposable income. Let's be real. That would be a really interesting concept. I don't know if people would like it. I think it's a little bit too exclusive for my taste, but as a business opportunity, I don't know. I feel like we're going to see it soon.
Maybe you got to workshop that. Draw the business plan up on the back of a napkin. Come back to me on the next episode if you're ready to get funded or something like that.
Yeah, we could do
whiteboard this idea.
We'll do a pitch competition between me and you. That'd be kind of fun.
Yeah, I don't know about that. I don't know what the idea. I don't know about. I mean, maybe it sounds interesting, but look, we have to talk about what's in the cultural zeitgeist.
Yeah.
Nike again was in the cultural zeitgeist.
Nike is also, like prediction markets, has been on the timeline time and time again, right? Last week it was the basketball players talk. This week we had the marathon where Adidas hit sub 2 hours, and Nike was getting a whole lot of crap for it because they were the first ones to push this initiative. I want to get the rundown from you. What is like the overall like cultural positioning that Nike is in right now?
Okay, so a couple different things. Just lay it all out there, and then we can dissect it. Very interesting week for Nike, both culturally and financially. Nike stock is trading amongst its lowest prices since 11 years ago. As of this morning, they were at $44.39, down 30% year to date, like I mentioned up top. There's nothing catastrophic happening, to be honest. I'm like looking into this. I use Perplexity Finance. We're not sponsored by them. It's a great finance tool to just see what the public markets are and query very effectively using AI. Nike just doesn't have a growth story, right? And the public market it has bought into, there's no growth story around Nike right now. We've talked about this. We'll unpack that in just a second. But everyone was also talking about them on X, formerly Twitter. Nike had a wild stunt marketing campaign that took over our feeds. That happened in our backyard in New York City, Soho, Mulberry Street. They had a giant concrete brick crushing a black BMW. Producer Pablo.
Producer Pablo, pull it up.
You got to pull it up. And it was a part of an exclusive release of an Air Jordan 4 shoe collab with Nigel Sylvester, who's a pro BMX athlete. Okay, so why they did the brick? It was a gigantic brick. It absolutely crushed a BMW. The shoe is called Brick After Brick. Okay, and it's dropping in May of this year, so this coming month. Retailing at $230, and resell's already trading over $1,200. Isn't that wild?
Wow.
Hypebeast culture is crazy to me sometimes.
Hypebeast culture is crazy. And like, so I want to touch about the brick after brick. Excuse me. Brick after brick. I think it was an awesome campaign. And what it was about, it was about diligence and just like resiliency, like fight through like the adversity that you're fighting through. And that reminds me of like Nike's position right now, right? It's like resiliency, diligence. But like if you look at what's going on, the fact that they don't have a growth story, I used Index, who is one of our newsletter sponsors. Shout out Index.
Our favorite AI financial modeling partner. Absolutely.
And I was comparing essentially the growth and gross margins of all of its competitors, right? The biggest like sportswear, athletic footwear brands. If you look at Nike, their projected growth from consensus estimates, essentially these equity research shops that are saying, hey, let's see how Nike's going to do in the next year or two. And Nike has like literally either stagnating or declining growth overall, right? They're literally shrinking as a business. At the exact same time, their gross margins, which means that, in my opinion, you could say tariffs is what's driving costs, but it's really, I think, they don't have as much of a premium anymore as a product like they used to have. And so comparatively, like they're just doing worse on both fronts, which I think is a tough issue and tough position to be in. At the exact same time, you have your biggest competitor, Adidas, who has kind of taken the running market by storm, and that's by far one of Nike's biggest growth categories right now. CEO Elliott Hill has made a major, return on pushing Nike running as one of their main categories. I think they're like 20% year over year growth. But now Adidas comes with Sawa, breaking 2 hours in the marathon, even though it was Nike first, who was the one who launched the sub 2 hour challenge.
So for more context, so there was the 2026 London Marathon this past weekend.
Yeah.
And Sebastian Sawa became the first person to officially run a marathon under 2 hours. He ran
legend.
He ran it at an hour, 59 minutes, and 30 seconds, all while wearing Adidas Adizero Adios Pro Evo 3 shoes.
Which are going for like thousands of dollars on StockX
so
right
it's supposed to retail for $500. It's like state-of-the-art carbon fiber, right? Carbon fiber. But they're reselling on the aftermarket on StockX from anywhere from $1,700 to $3,700.
Yeah, that's
Isn't that
crazy.
crazy?
I mean, look, like they literally are superhuman shoes, right? So I get why it's going for a lot in StockX. So this is my interesting theory on Nike, okay? I think Nike is actually one of the most innovative companies in the apparel business because they were willing to make interesting swings in tech, okay? So let's start with Nike Run Club. They came out around 2010. It's essentially a Strava. Like the fundamental, like bare bones, like what Nike Run Club is essentially a Strava. And Strava wasn't even big back then. Now Strava is close to IPOing. They just bought Runna. They're literally vertically integrating and training their runners on their platform at the exact same time. Have so many tailwinds on the social aspect of sports nowadays, especially running. Running is so community oriented, and Strava is taking that by storm. While they don't have apparel, it's something that Nike kind of had an ability to do. They could have taken over that market. Second, Nike Fuel Band. That was essentially the Whoop before a Whoop was a thing, right? And like Whoop is like now pretty much ubiquitous. I feel like we see it not only just like around our community, we both wear it, but at the exact same time,
We got to get them as a sponsor.
a ton of athletes wear it. I think Jason Tatum wears it.
I mean, a bunch of investors too, right? LeBron,
Alcaraz,
Cristiano.
Ronaldo,
Yeah.
right? So like all of them are wearing Whoop. And it's crazy to me because Nike literally had Nike Fuel Band, right? But one thing that I feel like and then obviously we have Nike's sub 2 hour marathon project that they did in 2016, 2017. They were actually big innovators in the running space way back when they were the ones who introduced the carbon plating technology on their shoes. And that was a huge breakthrough. But they were never able to get the sub 2 hours until Adidas did. And I feel like Nike just stopped caring about that initiative after it was like, whoa, this is like way too hard to beat. So the way that I see this is that Nike's a big first mover, but they're not able to build that sustainability for these long-lasting tech products that I think could have done wonders for their brand,
And there's like-
especially their apparel business.
And there's vertical players that have come eat their lunch in various parts, like you just mentioned.
Right.
Okay, so this is what I think. All right. CEO Elliott Hill, if you're listening, this is what I think you should be doing. I think Nike is in the buy versus rather than build stage.
to like buy a company.
They should just be in M&A mode, buying up. Why don't they buy Whoop or Aura or Strava?
Or Strava.
right?
I think Whoop or Strava is a super interesting
But
acquisition.
you need to buy. These are all everything that you just mentioned. They're cool, culturally relevant companies and
Yeah.
super like loved products.
Yeah.
Right. Nike
And they're out of their experimental stage. I think
Yeah.
that's when Nike had a tough time getting out of the experimental stage, or it matures too quickly. Like Nike Run Club, a lot of users have it, but it's never been like a legitimate like, oh, like this is a product that we're continually innovating.
I think
right?
Nike has to go on an M&A spree, buy up these.
Yeah, they have like
adjacent
$7 billion
markets.
of cash right now.
They have to go after health and wellness and longevity. That's a booming market right now. Whoop, Aura fall into that. Running obviously is, like you mentioned, all-time highs. Can we get into that Strava? Can we do more interesting bets like community-based sweat pals? There's a rise here in New York City and kind of all over of like the biohacking, sauna, red light, cold plunge. These chains, these businesses that are popping up, can Nike get involved through those? The workout classes, right? Like what are they called? Like the solid core,
Like Pilates?
Barry's boot camp,
Oh, yeah.
Pilates.
Yeah.
These are all culturally relevant things that are happening. Nike
And I feel like
needs-
Nike's not that tapped in. Like Alo's really tapped in the
Yeah.
Pilates space. So it's like, I feel like Nike had those opportunities. It was just tough. Like there were some decisions that were made way back when, even before, definitely before Elliott came into the mix. So, but I do think like something where it expands the market, where they can get into the longevity space. It's not just apparel, and then use the longevity market where they can not only make money off of products like a Whoop or an Aura or Strava, but they can distribute into interesting communities where it builds premium for their apparel.
100% agree. Nike doesn't have a growth story for Wall Street right now, and they need to go chase where the growth is. That's what we think. Moving on, pro golfer Justin Rose joins McLaren Golf as its first golf ambassador, investor, and R&D collaborator as they gear up for its launch. So the real story here is that McLaren is trying to turn golf equipment into a luxury performance category, the same way F1 has turned technical engineering into fashion, hospitality, and fandom into a cultural product, right? I think this is interesting. It's not just a logo deal. So Rose supposedly has spent close to 2 years working with McLaren on prototypes, testing clubs, and giving performance feedback. And now they want to lead with a engineering-led, high-performance golf club that's going to help the golfers at the highest level. And why I think this is interesting is McLaren Golf has officially launched with 2 iron lines, Series 1 and Series 3. Both are priced at $375 per club. But golf equipment has been historically, that market has been historically very hard to break into. You have TaylorMade, Titleist, Callaway, Ping, Cobra, Mizuno. These brands have had decades long of consumer trust, athlete and pro sponsorship and endorsement. It's hard for someone to just break in, but I think if there's any company that's doing that, it's McLaren.
Yeah.
Right?
Like, I think they're just like the definition of premium. And I think they're really buying into that right now. I was watching Rick Shields. He's one of the biggest golf creators in the world. He did a review.
You've been on a big golf creator consumption.
Yeah, it gets like I wrote about it last week, so
That's
I
right.
like went super deep into the creator space. And dude, golf creator, the content that they're putting out is like by far some of the most high quality YouTube
It's
stuff.
so
I've seen.
entertaining, by the way.
So entertaining. They get crazy guests. LeBron was on.
I'm
Bob
not
the
even a
Sports,
golf
like-
fan, and I'm watching that stuff because they get people like LeBron.
Yeah,
right?
they have motion. They
got motion.
But Rick
Mr.
Shields,
Pablo, is that a sound?
that
yet?
might be a new
All right,
sound.
we got to
that
add that sound.
Yeah. So Rick Shields, he's got motion in the golf space. One of the biggest creators in the world. He actually tested out the McLaren Golf. I think he got his hands on it early. He said a lot of great things about it. And what he was saying is, look, this is marketed as a pure premium product. You're not going to see it in your everyday golf store, right? You're going to see it in the type of places that, millionaires that are, really interested in becoming a scratch golfer or a scratch golfer are going to go and buy their clubs. That's kind of who they're marketing towards, which makes sense because it's aligned with the McLaren brand. I also think that golf overall has become even more premium of a product. I think it's kind of like a barbell, right? You have the creator space where you have like the casuals coming in, but at the exact same time, there's a lot of wealthy people that are taking it even more and more seriously. So if that's the case, I think McLaren Golf has a real opportunity to capture that market, or at least capture some of it. I think also, this is my take. This is a fun take that I was thinking about. Justin Rose has the opportunity to make the greatest inadvertent golf brand commercial of all time this weekend, since Tiger Woods did it at the Masters in 2005 when he had that crazy chip shot with the Nike ball.
It was like the best thing that's happened to Nike in a
yeah,
while.
I think it's crazy because Justin Rose is literally going to debut with the McLaren Golf clubs this weekend. What if he wins?
While McLaren is in the Miami Grand Prix.
So what if Lando Norris and Justin Rose both win on the same weekend?
That's crazy.
That would be crazy. That would be such a great commercial.
Yeah,
for
McLaren car sales and golf club sales going up after that.
Yeah, I also think I think McLaren Golf is an advertisement for the McLaren car.
No, I think it's like
versa.
the perfect category
It's
to go
like
down.
such a great category. There.
So did you see this? I saw this on X. So there was a creator an account called the Golf Watch Club. I have no idea if this is real or not, but they said the official Rolex tennis ball is primarily distributed as a VIP gift at prestigious tournaments like Wimbledon and the Rolex Paris Masters. They're like tennis balls with Rolex logos. Seems, obviously it's not like performance, but it's like the high brand class sport collabs.
Yeah.
Kind of reminded me of that too. So I figured I'd I don't know. I don't know if you saw that.
I just think Rolex will never monetize it. McLaren, I feel like
100% will monetize.
they want to monetize.
And they're on the performance. That's not really a performance tennis ball.
Exactly.
It's more of a vanity. But anyway, moving on to team and league news. The NFL partners with Skydance Sports to launch film, TV, and streaming content studio. The NFL and Skydance announced an expanded partnership to build a premier content studio focused on scripted football adjacent films and series. This is not a brand new relationship, okay? So this joint venture started in 2022 when the NFL, through its 32 equity strategic investment arm, took a stake in Skydance Media and combined NFL Films with Skydance Sports. And NFL now obviously has a stake in Paramount Skydance after David Ellison Skydance bought Paramount in 2023. So there's 3 flagship products that they're announcing, or projects. Madden, which is it's going to be like a Hollywood,
like John Madden biopic,
Hollywood-esque movie. Nicolas Cage is starring as John Madden. Christian Bale's Al Davis. Amazon MGM Studios releasing in Thanksgiving of this year. Are you going to watch that?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I mean, you have some big hitters as acting in this movie, right? Christian Bale is one of my favorite actors, by the way.
I think
best
he's my
Batman
favorite.
by far. I mean, I thought honestly people hated on Robert Pattinson as Batman, but he came a little bit close. But Christian Bale, one of my favorite actors,
Christian Bale by far was the best.
by
Batman.
far the best.
Yeah.
And Nicolas Cage, I mean, that's like a really interesting act that he can pull off. I mean, he's an OG. He's had some misses, but I think this will be a hit.
Yeah, and then the next one is Mr. Irrelevant, the John Tuggle story. Basically, recapping the 1983 draft where Michael Shannon plays Bill Parcells, Paramount Pictures, Christmas Day 2026, essentially the last pick in that draft, and the story around all of that, right?
Apparently he was such a big locker room guy.
He coined the term Mr. Irrelevant because he was the last pick. People thought he was an afterthought. Now that has stuck every draft since, they always call the last pick of the NFL draft Mr. Irrelevant.
So. And some end up becoming extremely relevant, like Brock Purdy. So.
Yep, exactly. And the last one is The Land. It's a Hulu series from This Is Us creator Dan Fogelman. 6 episodes, fictionalized, Cleveland Browns universe. So different actors playing various head coach, owners, players, etc. within the Cleveland Browns universe. So what kind of content like this already exists within the ecosphere, within the NFL and Hollywood movies? So Holiday Touchdown, a Chiefs love story in 2024, was a Hallmark, NFL, and Skydance plus Chiefs collab, pulled in 2.8 to almost 2.9 million viewers, far exceeding Hallmark's expectations. And then there was Holiday Touchdown, a Bills love story, which premiered last year in 2025. Same formula, didn't do as good. IMDb put it at 6.2 rating, so wasn't as hot, but kind of
6.2 is not bad for a sports movie /
I'll watch it and get back to you on my honest thoughts. I'm a very harsh movie critic.
Yeah, you are. You said Marty Supreme was
Don't get me started on that, man.
Marty Supreme was a great movie. It was a great movie.
You're gonna get me amped about that. Maybe there was too much press behind that, so maybe my expectations.
Yeah, your
were
expectations
bloated.
was too high. Yeah.
Yeah, and then the crucial last business stat that I have to talk to you about is that over 75% of Hallmark Channel viewers also watch NFL during the countdown to Christmas. That's the entire thesis for why this works. The audiences already overlap, and they just want to put a wrapper, different presentations across both.
Right. I mean, there's NFL dominates Christmas and Thanksgiving. At the exact same time, Hallmark is big in the holiday season. You're seeing the Mr. Relevant John Tuggle story is coming out Christmas Day.
Yep.
So it's all pretty much aligned. I want to give you my take on this. I think content studios for teams and leagues makes a ton of sense.
We wrote about this.
We wrote about this because you're sitting on generational IP. There's essentially opportunities to touch different parts of your fan demographic outside of just the sports itself. Think about it. NFL, their cycle, season starts in October, ends in February. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you have some off-season stuff, but those are the hardcore fans. The traditional fans might want other touch points to consume NFL content. And so
100% agree.
So a content studio like this makes a lot of sense. I'm going to make a crazy analogy, but bear with me, okay?
Uh-oh. Are we ready for this?
I think so. It's a little bit out there, but it's not like they're going to do the exact same thing.
All right, go.
Here's the way I think about this. The NFL is kind of in a situation like Marvel Studios and DC Studios.
Oh my!
Okay, it's not like they're going to make superhero movies. That's not what I'm saying. But Marvel and DC Studios, right? When they started making movies, they were sitting on a a ton of IP from the comic books, okay? Things like, okay, yeah, you have your Iron Man, your Spider-Man, everyone knew that, Batman, Superman. But look at what things have gone now, right? Where they had movies done, Ant-Man. And look, I'm not like a big Marvel fan anymore. Like after Avengers Endgame, I haven't really tapped in as much. But I swear, like there's like superheroes I've never even heard of, right? I looked at it. NFL Films, they have over 60 plus years of film content from the NFL. There's stories that we haven't heard yet that a bunch of fans would love to see, right? You have all this IP from the leagues, the teams, and what's really interesting about The Land, the new series that they were making that's related to the Browns, it's fictionalized. You essentially, if this actually hits, and you have a way to fictionalize sports content that stems from the NFL IP, I think you have a gold mine when it comes to content. Now, obviously, you're gonna have to pick and choose your battles, right? You can't just make infinite content like that. Only works for Marvel because
I was
Marvel
arguing
has
about
like
this
so
with you
much.
yesterday.
Yeah. Marvel has like just so much like really strong IP. It's also superhero stuff. You can do like CGI, whatever. What makes sports really interesting though is that it's real, right?
Mm-hmm.
People can relate to it. There's story like John Tuggle. I haven't heard this story before, and I'm excited to hear about it, right, and see it. Especially if you can get a really good cast as well. And I'm telling you, NFL is making more money every single year. The cast is only going to get better and better. The Land has Mandy Moore and William Macy. He was the big guy in Fargo and Shameless.
Yeah.
Like you're able to, bring in real talent, and you're essentially sitting on unlimited IP that can be used. I think you could build a real content business off this.
No, I'm bullish on this. I think I agree with you on this. Just to put some numbers to what you already said, the year-round engagement is the holy grail here of why the NFL would want to do this. So the NFL season is about 22 weeks. That leaves a little even more than half of the year left for ability to engage NFL fans or people with the NFL. So there's no native programming touch points. This is kind of that, which is nice, and scripted content will fill those gaps. The demographic expansion, Hallmark's audience skews older and female. Their viewers are largely already NFL fans, but the Chiefs movie, I'm reading this right here, reached 2.9 million who chose the romance over a million other options. So you're tapping into new genres, fans, and preferences that have the NFL coding over it, not just pure football in your face on Sundays. And so I think that's really interesting. Also, the IP monetization without risk to live rights, right? Like the holy grail for the NFL currently, the golden nuggets are the live content. Obviously, all of the streaming platforms are trying to fight over who gets what package or game of the NFL. And you get to protect that while also increasing media revenue, which is creating this IP, having standalone scripted content. And I think it's really smart, honestly. Very smart.
It's an interesting bargaining chip. Yeah, because then you could be like, hey, you don't get this live game, but we'll exclusively stream this new movie that we have on your platform instead.
Yeah, and it's an ability to control the narrative a little bit. The last blockbuster, Hollywood-esque big picture movie that I can think of
Related
that had
to
the NFL
NFL?
was Concussion. I think
Concussion and Draft Day.
Draft Day. But I remember
actually saw that in theaters. It was a decent movie.
I saw Concussion in theaters, and obviously that was anti-NFL with the Will Smith movie, with basically showing the downsides
with
of head
CTE,
trauma
yeah.
and CTE. So, I think it's a way for NFL to control the narrative, make sure their brand is protected in a sense. But I have to put my foot down. I agree with you. They can't just do football movie after football movie. They have to change it, vary it.
Find the interesting angles, right? Like this was about a Mr. Relevant. It doesn't have to be like biopic after biopic of, Barry Sanders, Deion Sanders, Bo Jackson. Like
100% agree with that.
all of them deserve their own biopic in their own way, but like, that could be done through a Netflix series, right? That doesn't have to be done specifically NFL content studios. I think you got to be creative here.
Yeah. And in other news within team and league transactions, Thrive Capital bought a stake in the San Francisco Giants MLB team, and Bob Iger, the ex-CEO of Disney, joined as advisor. Josh Kushner, the guy whose firm got into OpenAI before almost anyone else, told the world he's buying a piece of the San Francisco Giants in a anti-AI bet to kind of hedge his AI bets. So Forbes valued the Giants at almost $4.1 billion last month, the MLB's fifth most valuable franchise. But here's the cool part. He didn't do it through Thrive Capital, which is a $50 billion venture fund. He spun up an entirely new vehicle called Thrive Eternal. And the whole pitch is that while the world is being eaten by AI, he wants to make bets on things that will far last the AIification of everything and the human connection and what makes us human, which sports happens to be a few of those remaining things. So he's taking a big bet on that. And to mention, of course, Thrive also signed ex-CEO of Disney, Bob Iger, as an advisor in less than a month since he announced he was leaving Disney.
I mean, it seems like he already kind of knew where he was going.
He had an existing relationship. I think in 2022, he was a venture partner for a few months with Thrive already. So coming back into the mix. Okay, but here's the cool part. Iger is going to be very deeply involved in the MLB stake, as well as other investments in pro sports franchises, live event venues, and festivals. I think we're about to see a huge kingpin in sports and entertainment that just got made.
Come out of nowhere, honestly.
Out of nowhere. I love it. So Josh Kushner also was a former minority owner of the Memphis Grizzlies,
yeah.
and now he is a minority owner of the Miami Heat.
Okay.
So he's got man's got the life, man. He's a
legend.
MLB team, NBA team. Yeah, he's cooking.
OpenAI.
A bunch of AI investments. Yeah, this guy is cooking.
Yeah, I mean, Josh Kushner and Thrive, for a little bit of context, they actually have really interesting investments because it's not just like, even before they launched Thrive Eternal, they were willing to make big swings on generational companies that weren't involved in tech, right? If you look at like some of the top tier tech VC funds, like they're only like, or VC funds in general, they're really only investing in tech. He invested in Skims. He's like a pretty significant shareholder in Skims and A24 Productions, right? Which is by far, I mean, they used to be kind of indie, but now they're just like pretty blockbuster now with Mari Supreme and producing a lot of these top tier movies nowadays. But A24 really changed the game when it comes to producing movie content. And so he's kind of always been tapped into consumer and entertainment. I think this is now hey, we see what the AIification is doing. I was actually watching TVP on Friday. Gary Vee was on the podcast, and he was saying, look, with this hyper AI, hyper digitalization that we're experiencing right now, you're going to see a counter movement that's more on the hyper real and like, or not, I wouldn't say hyper real, but like more in the real, in the physical.
We saw Ari Emanuel and Mari, his new $2 billion fund, investing in a roll-up kind of strategy, investing in a bunch of live events businesses. This thesis it's not new, but it's in the relatively first innings of people experimenting with this.
Yeah, but I think it's going to be on a growth curve. That's the difference.
100% agree that this bet's going to work, by the way.
As
software and AI continues eating the world, this is going to be the one thing.
There's apparently a trend right now that's happening with Gen Alpha. They're starting to just buy flip phones now instead of smartphones. At the exact same time, vinyl sales records hit over $1 billion this year for the first time since 1983.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, that's impressive.
This is going to be a movement that you're going to see. A lot of people have serious friction on social media and just constant AI content. The idea of slop, like I'm done seeing digital slop. And so that makes live experiences even more premium, which essentially you're going to have insatiable demand for some of this content that Mari's going to be, or some of this live experiences that Mari's producing, that sports teams and leagues are producing, whatever Thrive Eternal ends up investing in.
And for more context, I don't think we properly explained what Thrive Eternal is. So Thrive Eternal is a permanent capital vehicle. So no fixed timelines on returning capital to investors, but it's designed on concentrating a limited number of enduring assets like sports franchises and cultural institutions that last the test of
even
time.
Even IP, right? It could be like, hey, maybe Disney has some venue project and they're sourcing outside capital, maybe outside their balance sheet. They could go to a Thrive Eternal.
A permanent capital vehicle like this is different from a traditional venture fund or private equity fund because those funds that capital is raised to deploy and with the goal of returning money back to investors over a certain amount of time. This is just deploying. So
this is more for like having a market and culture than just return on capital.
So Thrive's stake in the SF Giants is going to be around under 10%, so sub 10% stake, non-controlling, and the capital will go towards Oracle Park and the surrounding Mission Rock real estate development and the Giants Arizona training facility. So and Thrive will also be buying out a few other investors. So good for Josh, good for Thrive. This is cool. I love seeing this.
Do you think they could save Live Golf? You think they could come in and?
So we just heard.
Yeah, we just heard. This was yesterday's
This is
news,
yesterday
yeah.
that we talked about it last week that, there was talks of Saudi's PIF pulling funding for Live Golf. Yesterday they did announce it, that they were stopping the funding. Seems like Live Golf is now going to raise funds from outside capital. I actually think you might have made another prediction. I think.
Nah, I don't think they're gonna
You don't
do
think they're
that.
gonna do it?
I think it's just too risky. Like if it's gonna be long lasting capital, I don't think Live Golf has established itself
might
as
not be
a
through-
culturally dominating institution yet. I think if Live Golf was was a real competitor to PGA Tour, like long term, then I think they could come in and invest. But I do know that Josh Kushner, Jared Kushner have great relationships with the GCC countries, especially Saudi Arabia. PIF was the one who backed Live Golf. Kind of unfortunate situation. I still think Live Golf had they were building a pretty strong product. I think it was just the cost structure is just too tough to pay all these players, and I don't know what it's going to look like long term. If they have an interesting strategy and they're like, hey, look, we're going to play a little bit safer approach and we'll be able to last forever. We won't need to continually raise. Then maybe a Thrive Eternal could be like, hey, yeah, we could help out and invest. But I don't know.
Fair.
I feel like with this fundraise, there might be another fundraise and then another fundraise, right? And then
Yeah, no, that makes sense. In the world of emerging leagues, however, World Fencing League just took over the internet this past week. They had their debut event in Shrine Auditorium. And here's a couple different things.
in LA, right?
In LA. Our friend Dom Bolliard from Athleverse was there, and we saw it through his story. Shout out Dom. It seemed like a really cool event. Imagine if Star Wars, Formula One, and the Olympics had a baby. That's what this event was, okay? It was essentially that baby also holding a sword. And it happened in LA, like you mentioned. So they had hundreds of millions of views before even the first bout was even fought, and they had Lewis Hamilton, the GOAT of F1, sitting front row.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hundreds of millions of views because they were debuting, they were debuting this new blade tracking technology. If you've watched fencing during the Olympics, it's kind of hard to figure out who's actually hitting who and who gets the point. It's a really tough watch in a sense because you don't know what's going on. With this new blade tracking technology that was done by Dentsu Labs, you could literally see it was using green and red lights, which is kind of Star Wars-esque, who actually got hit. So it was really cool to see. Honestly, my take, I think, and I saw this too, they actually had 700,000 live stream views on YouTube, which is crazy.
Really?
KSI Dagenham was only 365,
Yeah.
so that was a full live stream of a massive creator. This just had 700K in general. I'm telling you, there's a massive global community of fencers. So people.
And you
who
think this
love-
is the league to bring everybody together?
I just think that they're making it a spectacle. They're giving the sport
and
what
shout
it
out
deserves.
to our friends at RWS Global who helped put this production together, right? They did a great job. I mean, the fact that, they made it look like Star Wars-esque, it was,
in
helped
combination with
storytell
Dentsu
that,
and
right?
help
Yeah.
storytell that.
Yeah.
I think what they should have done though is that while they were battling each other, they should have played my favorite song from Star Wars, Duel of the Fates. When
That's they should have done
they
that.
should have
It's
played
so
it. That
good.
would have made it so epic. I feel like that would have been
There's
such a. It would
had-
probably been 1.4, 1.5 million live stream views.
Have had
just
to-
an idea, but
for future.
for future reference.
Yeah,
if
maybe
you play
there's
the
some
Star Wars
rev share on that royalty.
on the
or
royalty of
something
playing
like that.
Duel of the Fates,
So it's co-founded by two Olympian fencers, Miles Chamley Watson and Zen Ren Tao. And the performance or kind of this event had a $100,000 prize pool, 10K per individual bout winner, and the remainder split by teams. So there were two teams, Team Blade and Team Shield, each with 3 men and 3 women, and they're positioned as the first co-ed combat sports league, which I think is super interesting. The result, Team Shield won 5-1, so it wasn't even close. Frankly, I didn't get to watch this, so I don't have commentary on the actual bout itself.
yeah.
Right? But
We'll tap in though. We'll tap in.
It will tap in. It was streamed free globally on DAZN, so got to poop, and YouTube, so got to tap in next time. And the sponsors, which we said at the beginning, but Mercedes-Benz, Don Julio, and Nike.
Yeah,
I like this move. Nike getting into this, Mercedes-Benz, obviously. This is great.
Fencing is a pretty premium sport.
Yeah.
It's a lot of it's very wealthy communities across the globe that end up, getting involved in fencing in some sort of way, whether they were fencers before or their children are fencers. I think it's a really interesting sport that I think with the fact that it feels like it's like the modern day sword fighting. Like that's cool. Like, can World Fencing League make the spectacle cool as well? And I think that what I've saw at first, or what I've seen so far, I think they're on a trajectory of doing that.
It doesn't matter if I agree with you or not. It seems like the people agree with you. ESPN's TikTok posted of the tech reached 9 million views. A single Chinese language X reposted 5 million. Big Chinese market for this. Total cross-platform, hundreds of millions of views per the league's own count. And comparisons are drawn to Star Wars and Harry Potter kind of battles.
Yeah, it just kind of looks like wand flicking here and there.
Yeah. Okay, so you were right, though. So even some of the players have said that their parents, when they're watching it, it's just tough to tell because it's such a minute, very fast twitch movement.
The swords are honestly really thin, too.
Yeah, they're thin.
They're like needles,
Yeah, exactly. So this new technology is what kind of revolutionized the viewing experience.
Yeah.
So it used 24 cameras and machine learning to trace the tips of each blade in real time. And it rendered invisible sword work that looked like light trails. So that was the lightsaber-esque thing. No special markers or weapons needed. This is a perfect use case of how sports technology merges with emerging sports leagues. I love this.
Yeah.
I love it.
This is cool. This is like, they knew there was a real problem to be fixed. It's not like, hey, we're just going to pick a sport, we're going to turn this into an emerging league, and like people are going to watch it, right? It was like, hey, we're going to take the sport that we think is really cool, but the viewing experience needs to be fixed. We're going to fix the viewing experience and then launch an emerging league. And I think now you actually have a path to like real scale here.
100% agree. Shout out to them. We got to tap into the next one.
Yeah, they're apparently going to ramp up the tour too. So hopefully they're in New York for next year. They can probably have like way more events than just one LA one. So.
Yeah, no, I agree. And it gives the collegiate level a way to get involved to the professional scene in another way outside of the Olympics and other.
That's true.
Other orgs. The industry spotlight, quick one. Have to shout out our friend Brent Peus and his pod Under the Numbers. One of the most slept on sports business content.
Yeah,
that
he's
I've seen.
interviewing some of like the biggest hitters in the sports space.
Had the founder of Therabody yesterday.
Marcus Colston, who's now launched like he has his own fund, $100 million fund investing in sports.
Yep.
Terrence Murphy, Synergy Sports Capital.
Yep.
He founded that. He's also like legendary. Pablo, you got to hit the legend.
A legend.
Legendary real estate investor. He's had a crazy career, given that he was like, I think, a first round pick, but then had a career ending injury very early on in his NFL career, but then made the most out of it. And now has a $150 million sports fund. And Brent was just on a roll, interviewing every single one of these people. At PAC, right?
Yeah, at Pro Athlete Community. I think he's very tapped in there. And there's a lot of AI slop in general, and obviously that has trickled into the sports business space.
Sports social media, sports
and
business social media.
It's super refreshing when someone like Brent is making original content, original thoughts, connecting very unique paths and dots to formulate interesting and novel ideas. And obviously sitting down with people that are like one of one and hard to get in general. So shout out Brent.
We'll continue to use this platform to shout out all the
spotlight
sports,
the industry.
Spotlight the industry, the sports business influencers, and the people that are on the come up.
We gotta push this industry forward, right? Help push it, I guess.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. So moving on to the world of investments. New fund alert, baby.
New fund alert.
Catterton and Patricof & Co. launch a $500 million fund called Champ. It's a JV backed by top athletes targeting consumer brands. So the biggest free agent signing this quarter was not on the field or on the court. It was in the boardroom. So Catterton, for those of you that don't know, is the LVMH backed private equity firm with $40 billion under management. LVMH is the super luxurious holdco of every
Louis Vuitton, Mont
Hennessy. Yep, almost every luxury brand that we know. And they have that's kind of their associated private equity arm. And they just signed 250 pro athletes, including Cooper Flagg, Mike Trout, Joe Burrow, KD, Libby Dunn too, to a single roster. And Champ is the word or the name of the fund.
Right.
So it's basically Champion Athlete Managing Partners. I like it. Cool name. So shout out to our friend Kevin McCarthy at Patricof. our boy, he's crushing it over there. Awesome to see this. Patricof launched a rare earth metals fund a few months ago. I feel like
Yeah, it was like a few
for
months ago.
athletes
It was
to
honestly
invest
like right before gold actually went nuclear.
Yeah, I mean, so they saw that.
Gold and silicon too.
So the team there, Patricof and Co., for the people that don't know, is a athlete investment management firm, and they primarily invest using athlete capital. And the team saw a huge increase in gold, silver, platinum, and palladium, and gave an opportunity for athletes to invest in that. So they've been really innovating on investment opportunities. They were early in companies like, allowed athletes to invest early into companies like SpaceX, Cholula Hot Sauce, just to name a few, Virgin Cruises, I think. But anyway, they're a part of this, and they're targeting 500 million. So I don't think all of it has been raised just yet. I think more than 10% of the fund, so about 50 million for some public accounts. And they're investing in consumer brands across the Catterton wheelhouse, so things that Catterton also plays in, right? Food, beverage, beauty, fitness.
I think they have a stake. They own Birkenstock.
Yep.
What's the other apparel brand? Oh my God, I'm blanking on it. It's like
Which one?
it's like one of those competitors like J. Crew. It's like J. Crew Express. It's one of those.
Okay.
It's one of those.
And they're owners.
They're, I think, owners of like one of the big retailers that play in that area.
Got it. And the model is different this time. So athletes are co-owners of portfolio companies. So they're, GP stakes, not endorsers. They're taking equity, and they're not just being, an athlete endorsement. This is really cool. Cool to see that this is becoming sophisticated, and the track record together, why Catterton and Patricof did it for a number of reasons, but they've already co-invested for nearly a decade in companies like Cholula Hot Sauce, Kodiak Cakes, and Real Trucks. So the teams it seems like they know each other, and they like to play together. So I love this.
And the athletes are the GPs, right? Or like they're
Yep.
like the actual investors. So they're bringing in deals. They're saying, hey, like they're bringing it to IC.
Yep.
And I think it makes sense for a consumer, because I feel like consumer and athletes go just hand in hand, especially someone like Olivia Dunn, right, who has a ton of social media presence. It makes complete sense that she actually has a lot of deal flow in the consumer space. Now she actually has capital to play with outside of hers. She gets kind of a new revenue source where, she could do direct deals and direct invest herself, but now she gets access to carry,
100%.
right? And athletes, in my opinion, especially the superstar athletes, have some of the greatest deal flow like on the planet. Like, yes, they can invest out of their own pocket, but now they're essentially built a team around them to make the best investments and do the diligence to make sure that they get access into the right company, or they make that right investment.
As we've been in and around the sports business landscape, we've obviously seen the amazing things that people are doing, but we've also seen a small underbelly of people that are around athletes that might not be giving the best financial advice, and, maybe taking advantage. And obviously we're at NFL Biz Week, where that whole initiative was to empower athletes to get into business and support their ventures and stuff. So,
and connect with the right people.
Exactly. I think this is a great next step for athlete investing. It's a trusted, safe, it seems like a legit opportunity for athletes to really expand.
It is a legit opportunity. Patricof, Matt, right? It's Matt, because there's two brothers.
I believe,
or
it's
Mark. Sorry.
Patricof. Let me. Mark Patricof.
Okay, Mark, because he has a brother, John, who I think is involved with Gotham City FC. But so Mark, he's had experience doing investment. He was a managing director at Houlihan Lokey in the TMT division. Like, this guy is a seasoned vet in the investing space, investing and going through and sourcing deals. Like, especially with an institution like Catterton, like that's the type of money and investment vehicles that superstar athletes should be looking to get their money in, or like something around that. I mean, you could do, your financial advisor could do the diligence, be like, hey, like it's still unsafe investment. Let's be real. Like, there's still risk in regards to doing it, but you're empowered because you get to bring in the deal flow. You get to evaluate the assets. You're not just an LP. I also think it's really smart for more funds to tap into this, because when you're a fund and you're looking at potential capital or like limited partners that will help finance the fund that you're building, you usually go to high net worth individuals, maybe people who are, either successful investors or successful founders who have exited their companies. Sometimes you can get institutional capital from like a pension fund or a fund of funds. Now there's a new limited partner LP base of athletes because the amount of money that they're making professionally has just gotten so bonkers that they're going to have so much capital to deploy. And so I think unique avenues to help them deploy that capital with funds that make sense is such a no-brainer. And I think you'll see it a lot more often, especially when like Wemby's about to make $1 billion on his next contract that he's going to sign. Like it's crazy. There's going to be so much more capital that comes from the sports world.
Hard to disagree with you on that. We have to move on to our sports and technology news this past week. Pretty cool news that happened. MLS unveils its third innovation lab featuring AI-driven sports tech startups. It's third class, and this time, all AI companies. There's 5 startups. We're going to play a game, and there's 3 buckets. Player performance, fan engagement, and media production are what the MLS is focused on for these companies. And they're going to test it live at MLS All-Star Game, presented by Chime, MLS Next Cup, and the Generation Adidas Cup. All real environments testing these products. Okay? So, gave you the context. We're going to play a game. Might be a recurring segment. I don't know. We'll see how you do. I'm going to walk you through each 5 of these companies.
Rapid fire.
I'm going to give you a quick blurb about them, and you have 3 options. Start them. This is a future unicorn. Sit them. Very interesting. Might need to spend more time thinking this through. Thoughts. Gut reaction isn't completely formed yet. Or cut them. There's something here, but we just got to hold off on that. Maybe market hesitation.
Maybe too early.
Maybe too early. The market's too competitive, whatever. Okay. You ready?
Yeah.
Let's go. First up, Springbok Analytics out of Charlottesville, Virginia. They use AI to transform MRI data into detailed 3D muscle analytics, tracking muscle health, performance, and injury risk. Think of it as a digital twin for every muscle in an athlete's body. Really cool. Closed an oversubscribed $5 million Series A in January 2025, led by Transition Equity Partners with participation from the NBA itself, NBA Equity. Wrote a check. That's a tell. Big signal. They were in Launchpad? Were they in Launchpad too? I don't know.
Okay. You tell me.
all right. FDA cleared technology built on more than 15 years of scientific research, and they're already partnering with biotech firms like Patricof on first in human clinical trials, meaning the tech is already being trusted by health and clinicians, not just in sports.
So gut reaction, what I really like about this product is that it's able to scale outside of sports. So It seems more like a medical use case at the exact same time with the health and wellness boom. And a lot of people want to spend a lot more on their health and from a longevity perspective. And that isn't just from like it's not just internals, right? A lot of it is like your physical body overall. I think that you could see a lot of even very wealthy people, older people that might use a product like this. Mm-hmm. Obviously, incredible use case.
All right, are we starting this, sitting them, or cutting them?
I think you got to start it. I like that it can expand to other markets.
I agree. I think it increases your total addressable market. Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
Potential. I don't know about unicorn. There's very few sports tech companies that become unicorns.
But you're starting them.
But I'm starting them.
Okay. He's starting them.
They have a really interesting opportunity here.
Next up, Oracle out of Galway, Ireland. They're a global leader in sports bioanalytics using AI, computer vision, and biomarker data to optimize athlete performance, predict injury risk, and athlete recovery. Heavy hitters already on the roster. Clients include athletes and teams in the NBA, EPL, NHL, NFL, MLS, La Liga, just to name a few. They raised $4 million with Mark Cuban personally participating alongside Enterprise Ireland and existing investors. Cuban is the real signal, I believe, for the U.S. market. But what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like it's like a digital product, right? I think I may have come across this before. Yep. Seems like they already have a really big clientele within the sports space. I think they got to figure out a way to, one, how defensible is their product? I don't really know. You're going to see a lot more new entrants in the space. I feel like a lot of people hit us up with startups that they're building just because it's, we're in the founder space.
Cut.
I'm going to have to bench him.
Oh, wow. No way.
I think Mark Cuban, big signal. I just have to wait and see.
Yeah,
I got to see how the
I
market
agree.
ends up playing out. You see like NFL and some teams will experiment with the product and experiment with the company. And then at some point in time, some new entrant comes in the mix. I just have to see how defensible their product is. While I think Springbok analytics seem like very, very technical, and
we've seen
they
this
seem like they're
before.
going from more medical into sports, which I think is
I
more
think
of a defense.
there might be some of that in here too. But yeah, what it's your decision. Okay, great. I'm not.
No,
I'm not
and I want to meet the Orco
Yeah,
founders.
we need to meet.
I'm just hearing it from the first three.
Just for the first, this is gut reaction. Number 3, FitMatch, a player identification and assessment platform that uses your phone's camera only, AI, computer vision to capture detailed body data, generating a full 3D avatar with measurable physical insights in seconds.
From your phone.
A 3-second scan, full body avatar just from your phone. Solves a real world problem. Standard talent evaluation across thousands of academy kids without expensive lab equipment. The investors and athletes are already on board. Josie Altidore, the 3rd highest scorer in US men's USMNT history, is an investor. Marshall Falk, NFL Hall of Famer, is a backer. Wasserman Ventures is in. I didn't even know Wasserman had ventures, or the team Ventures now. But what do you think?
It's interesting. I think that the scale seems like you have to go through a lot of youth academies. There's so many products in the youth in like
Yeah,
sports
it's tough.
space.
It's a tough market.
It's a tough market. I'm gonna have to cut.
Wow.
I have to wait and see what this.
You
ends up-
came in telling me you were going to start everybody, so we were going to be on good terms with everybody.
No, that's not okay. That's not what I said. I said I probably would, but I also think that like the cut doesn't mean I'm saying I think.
Yeah.
the product's
No,
bad.
I know.
I think that there's opportunity. I just have to
Cut
wait
is
and
not as harsh as we're making it. It's just
Yeah.
cut is we need to see more. We need to find out more. Okay, great. Number 4, AIR, Advanced Image Robotics. They make AI-powered robotic camera systems, automated tracking, plus remote operator control that capture broadcast-grade footage at a fraction of a cost of traditional production. This is the production economics story of the decade. MLS produces more than 1,000 matches annually for Apple TV and other partners, and cutting per match production costs at that scale equals millions of dollars saved. The team has also won multiple Emmy Awards and worked with major brands in entertainment and tech.
Yeah, it's interesting. So it's like
Broadcast
broadcast
tech,
streaming, broadcast tech. I like. I think this would have been an awesome product like 15 years ago, but like I just don't like that the market's dwindling a little bit in like broadcast and streaming.
For
but
streaming,
it's still a massive market overall. But it does help with streaming as well. Okay. If that's the case, I mean, if they can really cut production, you have to work with a lot of different leagues. But like,
I think this is a pretty easy start for me.
I think it might be a start. Yeah.
And I think the next one is a pretty easy start for me too, but I'm going to let you make your own decision on this.
Okay.
And last, WMT AI ticketing. They're headquartered in Miami. They optimize pricing and distribution in real time by analyzing fan behavior, demand, and market dynamics, moving teams beyond static pricing to maximize ticket revenue. WMT Digital, to our friends there, shout out Chris, and Brent, are the technology firm behind the Notre Dame's Fighting Irish TV streaming app, Ohio State Stadium app, and clients including USA Basketball, the NFL, NASCAR, and La Liga. There was a Stanford case study, and dynamic pricing drove 19.4% of total ticket revenue. South Carolina women's basketball saw tickets resold for 5 to 10x face value before adopting Tillian, which was a company that WMT acquired and rebranded to make WMT AI ticketing.
So a lot of people, it's a competitive market, but it's a massive TAM, because if you solve fan behavior and you're able to figure that out, and that type of product is being used by leagues and teams.
I mean, not just leagues and teams. Think about all the places that require ticketing.
Ticketing,
right?
Yeah. So, so live events too as well.
Yeah.
If you could solve the fan behavior, then I'll start them. Solve it though. Solve it.
All right, fine. You're making me solve it for them. Okay, all right, fine. All right. Last thing. Give me the quick rundown. Please do not give me an AP history on prediction markets, but make it.
For some reason, I tend to make a lot of things AP history lesson when I talk about
he gives history
markets.
lessons about stuff. Okay.
I don't know. It gets overcomplicated.
No, but
it's all
this
these
is
federal regulations, like lawsuits and stuff.
But this is very important. So I do want to know about prediction markets. There's been a lot that's happening. Obviously, very hot topic. Give me the rundown.
Yeah, so I'm going to keep it sports focused. Obviously, a bunch of leagues have decided to work with prediction markets. We wrote a newsletter on this where we predicted that this was going to be the case because it's similar to what sports books were way back when leagues didn't want to work with them, and then all of a sudden they did. You have the NHL, MLB, they all have partnerships with a prediction market or multiple prediction markets. The NBA is actually now, this has just been announced this week, the NBA is now in talks with the CFTC to figure out a way where they can work with prediction markets. Funny enough, and this is where I think is really interesting, it's not only the concerns on sports events contract, it seems like that issue is actually mollified. Adam Silver and a lot of these commissioners are like okay with sports events contracts if within their partnership they're able to strike down on markets that may be
predatory
towards the game where it's like, hey, like,
can you give an example of that?
Oh, like in this Hawks game, Jalen Brunson missed field goals.
Yep.
Right? Like, I mean, obviously Jalen Brunson makes a lot of money, but there might be a guy who's like, hey, like I can make a ton of money if I just miss a bunch of shots and maybe I'm a superstar, right?
And he just predicts on himself or
predicts
something.
on himself,
right?
exactly. Injuries,
which fractures,
fights, like these are markets that shouldn't be bet on overall.
Which might affect the integrity of the game.
Right. But what's interesting is that Adam Silver's now, they have concerns on the overall state of prediction markets and what people are betting on, right? Like the Iran war, or like we saw the Maduro bet that was big, where someone who's actually involved in that operation ended up getting arrested for making a bet that Maduro was going to get captured, and he made like $400,000 in Polymarket. And so I think with sports being so family friendly, you want to make sure that you're aligned with a product that isn't as exposed with random stuff like that happening. So that's news piece number one for sports. Second is that there's actually a bunch of lawsuits that are hitting these prediction markets, especially the CFTC, where states like New York, Nevada, Wisconsin, New Jersey, they actively are making a lot of money from their gambling licenses at the exact same time, the tax revenue that comes from it. Prediction markets kind of upends the entire thing because now, they consider it a form of like gambling. That whole debate is another topic in of itself, but obviously the CFTC says it's a federally regulated derivatives market. So if that's the case from a lawsuit perspective, the CFTC is doing its best to defend prediction markets. Mike Selig, the head of the CFTC, has said, look, we are going to make sure that this is federally enforced. States cannot infringe on the federal regulations that's involved in prediction markets. So you're going to continue to see this battle. It's getting more and more fierce. Funny enough, there was a random comment. I read a FOS article this week about it. Trump has actually been asked about prediction markets, and he kind of was like, hey, like I kind of don't like how everything's becoming kind of a casino. There's just things like predictive markets, but it's kind of a new era, which I agree. I think it's just a new era. And overall, I think prediction markets, they're in a stage where they're getting to a point of being ubiquitous. And at the same time, they're essentially startups. Like, yeah, they raise a ton of capital, but they're consistently trying new and newer things, right? That's typically how it goes. It's not like these massive institutions like DraftKings and FanDuel's all of a sudden could, now have legal sports betting in certain states. It's like literally like a whole new thing unfolding, and it's not mature yet. So we just don't know what it's going to look like overall. But you're going to continue to see this battle unfold. And it's interesting to see what happens. I think the federal government prevails. Trump, I think, just saying that because it's like, oh, way back when, like that was never really no one was just betting on random stuff like this, which is fair. But let's be real. I'm Gen Z, you're Gen Z, Gen Alpha. It's everywhere now. Like, there's a whole culture even with like 15, 16-year-olds that are like their older brothers would be like on like sports betting, prize picks, whatever, and they'd be like, hey, like I want to get tapped in, whatever, can you place a bet for me, etc. So that was just so ubiquitous overall. And then the last thing that I do want to bring up is Sports Radar. They're trying to make a big push into the prediction market space. So apparently they're in intense talks with Kalshi, Polymarket, Crypto.com, Robinhood, which is actually about to release their own prediction markets platform, Rothera, in Q2.
What's it called?
Rothera, I think.
Okay.
Rothera? I don't know. I honestly I'm
gotta keep-
bad with pronunciation.
I got to
of
keep
stuff.
making you pronounce stuff. That's going to drive up the engagement.
So what's cool about this is that Sports Radar could do full data feeds plus integrity tools for designated contract markets like Kalshi and Poly Market. They could work with the brokers when it comes to customer acquisition and visualization, right? They're really good at like manipulating data feeds to make it look really like interesting and engaging for sports betting platforms, but now they can maybe do it for brokers as well because they're allowing prediction markets as a real place to put your money in. And then market makers because they have live odds and data feeds of what's going on, and they market make sports events contracts for prediction markets. So I think this is a good way for them to diversify. Their stock has actually been getting hammered because of a random rumor that's going, or like a rumor that's been happening. I'm not super tapped in, but there's like a hedge fund that's like actively coming after Sports Radar.
Wow.
Yeah. So I think that they need to pivot and get more into the prediction market space because it's a lost opportunity. They shouldn't just be working with the leagues and sports betting platforms. Look, you have to work with something that's like the new wave and the new trend. And so I think you'll see a Sports Radar and even like a Genius Sports tap more into the prediction market space in the future.
Professor Paramanu, that was actually very effective.
Very effective. Well, hopefully it wasn't a history lesson.
No,
but
that was actually very punctual and straight to the point and informative. And we got to make that a recurring segment. It seems like every week there's more prediction market news.
Yeah, follow Dustin if you want some updates. He's a little bit biased against prediction markets. I personally use Kalshi, but like he's worth following if you actually want to stay like tapped in of what's going on every single second in the prediction market space.
I agree. His content's really informative. And I think overall we crushed it today. I thought we did a really good job. I thought
I think
might have been our best one.
I don't think we crushed it. I think the sports market crushed it.
And
we just do our best to cover it.
No, I'm also selfishly saying I think this was our best run yet. Not that
I
the
know,
bar was ever that high.
Isn't Sid such a good host?
No, I think you.
The run of the show and you introducing concepts has been getting better.
It's been better
each
each time, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm trying. Good things. I'm glad that you think it's improving because I don't see it materially, but I know that if I've changed things slightly each time, it compounds. So
yeah, look, as having we grown up together, I'll be your harshest critic,
yeah,
but I'll be your biggest fan too.
Thank you. That means a lot.
Wait,
Producer
guys,
Pablo.
Before we wrap up, we forgot to mention a quick rundown of what happened with the Knicks and the Hawks earlier.
Oh yeah, you don't got.
It really be your own people, man. That's crazy. We strategically left out any mention of the Knicks and the Hawks playing. Our precious Hawks, hopefully they
fell in Game 5. But hey,
they need to defend
tonight,
Game 6. Yeah,
You guys are New Yorkers now, so
Nah. We'll never be Yankees. We'll always be Southerners. We're staying true to ATL and Georgia.
There you go. Well, best of luck, Producer Pop. Hopefully it'll be a 3-3 series and we'll go to Game 7. But without further ado, thanks for tuning in. Subscribe to our YouTube. We're still in stealth, so if you're watching this, you're still very early.
Yeah.
And I appreciate you if you made it to this end of this part of the video.
And tap into the newsletter if you want like even a deeper dive of some of the topics that we cover on the show.
Subscribe to our newsletter at thefourthquarter.co and follow us on LinkedIn, Sid Balaga and Siraj Paramanu. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch you next week.